Fellas, today we're going to be talking about rewiring negative thought patterns. We've all had these scenarios where we've had, let's say, one negative thought and all of a sudden we let it spiral out of control. And then we just go from one negative thought to another negative thought. We just keep on going back and forth to different negative scenarios. So today we're going to talk about how to rewire those negative thought patterns. Negative thought patterns can silently sabotage our mental health, self-worth, and productivity. For men especially, negative self-talk often gets ignored because of societal expectations to tough it out. We've all heard that shit. Tighten up, tough it the fuck up, whatever it was. I was in the Marine Corps and I understand the way shit is. And I'm telling you right now, that's not the way things need to be. Or this one is the one that I've heard very frequently. Man the fuck up, right? I'm sure we've said it to our boys. I'm sure we've heard it and been told it plenty of times. But let me just tell you, I think ignoring these harmful thought patterns will only make this shit worse. So let's talk about something called cognitive distortions. So these are like mind games you play with yourself. It's when your brain messes with you and makes things way worse than they are. Think about it for a second. How many times have you actually assumed the worst? Thought everything was black or white, or blamed yourself for things totally out of your control? That's called cognitive distortion. And time to call that shit out on its bullshit. Let's break this down. So the first part of it is called catastrophizing. I'm probably butchering this word, my bad, but it's okay. Catastrophizing. You ever think like, if I mess this up, it's game over? I know that kind of sounds a little drastic, but like you're jumping straight to the worst case scenario when realistically most things won't burn down because of one simple mistake. It could be like you're late for work and all of a sudden you think like you're going to get fired, or all of a sudden you're, in a meeting giving a presentation and you're like, well, shit, if I fuck this presentation up, or if I don't get this, I'm not going to get my promotion, or I could lose my job, or my boss is going to think I'm an idiot, or whatever the case is. But you're going straight into like 16 steps ahead to a way worse scenario than actually what's going to happen. Maybe your presentation does suck, but it's really like not going to be the end of the world. It's going to be just one simple mistake. And most people honestly live in their own bubbles and they're going to move past it. Then there's black and white thinking. This is when you see only the extremes. So you're either a hero or a failure. There's nothing in between. Life honestly doesn't work like that, does it? You're going to have good moments and bad moments. It's not all or nothing. And then we have personalization. So sometimes if you're ever hanging out or kicking it with some people and all of a sudden someone gets quiet, and it could be directly after you said something, you think to yourself, why did I say that? What did I do that was wrong, or should I not have said that? That's personalization, because you think that everything that goes wrong is somehow your fault, even when it's not. The dude just might have been in a bad mood because he skipped lunch, or he's just dealing with some other shit that's on his brain, just like all of us, but it's not necessarily because of you. The other thing we have to get rid of is the negative self-talk. This is honestly one of the most important things, fellas, for us to work on. This is the voice in your head that always has something to say. And let's be honest, the shit's not always the nicest. This is one of the things, fellas, that we need to work on the most, honestly, is our negative self-talk. Because for us as dudes, we think that we got to keep everything on the inside. So if we keep everything on the inside, all the bullshit that we hear stays in. And that means we just fucking talk to ourselves about that shit constantly. And sometimes it's like, I'm not good enough, or I'm going to screw this up, or why do I even bother? It could honestly be smaller shit too that just adds up, like, why did I say that, or I shouldn't have done this, or I shouldn't have done that. And it could be small little things, but those little things, it's like, death by 1,000 cuts. It's the same shit where it's going to really, really negative affect you and fuck you up mentally. Letting that voice run the show will just keep you stuck in a loop of self-doubt and bullshit. You're probably thinking to yourself, so what? Why does this matter to me? But if you keep telling yourself that you're not good enough, you're going to start believing that you're not good enough. And when you believe it, it shows in how you act. You'll hesitate, you'll hold back, you'll never push forward because you've already convinced yourself that you're going to fail because you don't deserve it. I'm going to tell you, that's not the fucking case. So now, the fix. How do we do it? Rewiring your thoughts. This isn't about some magical overnight transformation. It's about catching yourself in these mental traps and calling yourself out on it. That is honestly the first thing that you need to start doing. You'll be amazed at how much changes when you start challenging your own thoughts. Here's what to do. Call out the BS. When you start thinking, I will screw things up, ask yourself if that's even true. Most of the time, it's actually not. So just break it down logically and see the facts for what they are. And then next, it's flip the fucking script, right? So replace the trash talk with something real. Instead of, I'm going to fail, try I'm figuring it out as I go. So it's not just like, some bullshit overly positive like rainbows out your ass type of shit like, oh my goodness, everything's going to be fucking amazing and rainbows and butterflies. No, you can just kind of be like more positive, but you don't have to be overtly positive. So like I'm figuring out as I go is different than I'm going to fail. It's about being real with yourself and recognizing that you're capable of handling a lot more than you think. And then so with everything in life, what do we need to do? We need to track it, because what gets measured, what is it? What gets measured gets managed. My bad, brain fart. Track it. So first, grab a notebook or use the notes app on your phone. Every day for the next week, jot down when you catch yourself falling into these negative patterns. Track your thoughts and how they're affecting you. And then when you notice a shift, like you didn't beat yourself up for that minor mistake, write that down too, because wins compound. So the more wins that you're getting, the more that you will become a winner. There's a study that I was looking at the other day that was talking about the most successful athletes on the planet. And then so a lot of their birthdays are in the beginning part of the year, like January, February, and March. And part of why that makes sense is they are one of the older kids. So they're a lot older. They're a lot physically more grown than the other kids. So which means when it comes to like basketball or soccer or football, physically they're more talented because they're developed a lot further than, let's say, someone whose birthday is almost 11 months later, which is someone that they're even competing with. So they get those small wins, let's say when they're in like elementary school and middle school, and they keeps getting like compounding wins. And that gets into the brain like, I'm a winner because I've been winning so often. Same concept here. When you start to write down those small wins, you're going to start believing to yourself that you do deserve this shit and you are a winner, and you're going to continue doing it more and more and more, because I promise you, you do deserve it. Final thoughts. Rewiring your thoughts is all about realizing that you don't have to believe everything your mind throws at you. Start calling yourself out on those negative thoughts and replacing them with something that gives you more power. Every time you catch a negative thought and flip it, you're one step closer to owning your own mindset. As always, fellas, I like to end on a quote. And this is honestly one of my favorite quotes, just because of just like I can visualize this one. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. Wayne Dyer. Appreciate y'all joining me for another class. There is a worksheet. You can click below and get it. And it's kind of like something to help you in terms of journaling. If you need any assistance, send me a DM, hit me up. Here to help. Appreciate y'all, fellas. Again, thanks for the support. We're here to support each other. Peace.